The word porn is typed into internet search engines up to 250,000 times a day. We've asked 1,000 of them why. To find out, we've devised a unique experiment. And these are the 20 men who volunteered to take part. We'll secretly film them and measure their responses. And if the men try and hide their feelings, our experts will find them out.
If they know that their neighbor is watching or something, they probably will make a real effort to hide their body language.
Each of the men has a heart rate monitor attached to their chest and linked wirelessly to a wristwatch to precisely measure their pulse during the exercise. And helping to understand more about why men watch porn is Professor Brian McNair.
Men are programmed genetically to have sex with as many partners as possible. This is the genetic, if you like, determination of male sexuality.
The men will also each have a keypad. It's numbered 1 to 9. Behind this two-way window is social anthropologist Jean Smith. She'll be looking for the signs of arousal, enjoyment, or even distress that you and I might not notice.
I think one problem that people have with body language is they see one thing, like, for example, crossed arms, and then they make one big assumption. But actually, you need a few different signals before you can sort of have an accurate interpretation of what's happening.
So after round 1 of soft porn, Jerome had already reached the heady heights of feeling fairly aroused. That's a 5 on his keypad.
He was sitting with his arms folded across his chest and his legs crossed. So already it's kind of showing, like, leave me alone, I kind of want to be by myself.
The 20 men have each been wired up to a heart rate monitor and have keypads to give us a measure of their state of arousal. We hope they'll be honest, because if they're not, then social anthropologist Jean Smith will be watching from behind this two-way screen.
They're either imagining themselves actually in the act, or if they're not enjoying porn, it's because they're just looking at naked men.
Jem only registers a 3, that's vaguely aroused, but Jean has other ideas.
I noticed that he was tilting his head a few times, and I think what was happening is he was actually trying to move to the angle that the film was going, so he's trying to interpret it in a different way.
Next to Jem, former heavy porn user Dave has also hit the vaguely aroused button, but he's been biting his lip during the scene.
He's probably really conscious of his own oral capabilities. What we learn about men when they watch porn is they're either imagining themselves actually in the act, or if they're not enjoying porn, it's because they're just looking at naked men. So he's probably one of those who's empathizing with the main character.
Social anthropologist Jean Smith has already made some interesting observations from behind this two-way screen.
This is interesting. It seems like most of the men have their hands clasped and their legs open for this one.
Porn virgin Nathan and porn hater Andrew were concerned that they might be into S&M without knowing it.
They both happen to be checking their heart rate monitors a lot, and this to me just shows that they probably were less aware of how their body reacts physiologically to viewing porn, and they're also quite self-conscious about it because I don't think they wanted their heart rates to be very high, and they were just checking to make sure it wasn't.
Guilty conscience, Nathan?
The thought of being in that position puts me off a lot.
Moderate user Paul hasn't pressed his keypad at all. Can Jean work out the reason why?
He's blinking hard. He's also nodding his head as if he agrees with what's going on. I think he is enjoying it.
I was doing great to really press a button because it was, interesting.
Something that was interesting to me was just hearing about how men interpreted porn. And it seemed like the ones who were the most creative and empathetic enjoyed porn the most because they could first imagine themselves as the main character, and then they could create in their mind different sort of scenarios. And so I never really attributed those two characteristics of being empathetic and creative to being able to have a more pleasurable experience watching porn.
And what man hasn't once thought that they'd make a great porn star? It's a dream job, right, Darren?
I think it's actually quite a good turn on, knowing that somebody's going to get enjoyment from us. It's quite thrilling.
It's fun.
Yeah.